taken a look at them? And
oh yeah, no, we've definitely looked at Boston College, and you know, the thing that comes out to me is you know, they're well coached, they're big, they're physical up front, and their defensive front. You know, one thing you have to remind yourself is that, you know, what I was told anyways was that Clemson hadn't scored an offensive touchdown on Boston Colleges in 2 years. So that's a little alarming. But you know, so we got to try to figure out at least how to score a touchdown. You know, so but that 2 years, and that's what they tell me. They kicked 6 field goals 2 years ago, or 5 field goals, and then I guess out here defense scored a touchdown, and that was it.
Yeah.
Whatever. But so those are things that, you know, we. They're gonna, you know, they're gonna play the box, and they're gonna play. They're gonna be physical.
How many of
So
those
we got to match it.
How many of those incompletions for Taj the other day were just him throwing the ball away?
The incompletions.
Yeah.
There was several. He had several throwaways. I think we had 5 throwaways, 4 or 5, which were good decisions, and that's what you like. Matter of fact, some of those five throws, especially down in the red zone, were some of his best throws because it allowed us to come away with, you know, with a field goal right there, and to go up 3-0.
Chad, talking to some of your guys the last few weeks, they seem to feed off the idea of achieving things people didn't think they could. How do you think they'll handle the notion now that they're the ones on top, and they've got to maintain, you know, they're not a surprise to anybody anymore?
Well, you know, again, it goes back to what I was saying. Everybody around, from our university to our community to our fan base to the country, ESPN. I mean, these guys have been getting a lot of publicity. There's no doubt about it. Clemson's been getting some unbelievable publicity and recognition, but you know, that stuff doesn't. I don't care. That does not bother me one bit. I don't care if we get anything because we haven't done anything yet. And you know, like I said, 5-7 is not a really good season. And that's the thing that we're going to stress to these guys. While yes, you've made some great strides, but that's all you've done, and it's not going to be the first 5 games you're going to be remembered by. And so again, that goes back to us as coaches. It goes back to me as the offensive coordinator. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, we praise these guys. We put our arm around them. We tell them how much we love them and when they need it. But right now they don't need that because everybody else is telling them that. And so we'll put a 10.5 up their tail if they come out dragging up. I can tell you that. That's just something I have no tolerance for. Is to come out and feel like you've earned the right to say like you've arrived, because you haven't. You've done well to this point, but that's all you've done.
Is there a way to quantify what makes Keckley, their linebacker, so productive in the BC's defensive scheme? Is it as much a product of the scheme, or is this guy just that good and that active and that instinctive?
He's got great field awareness. He is a ball player. He's sideline to sideline. He's very active. I mean, he takes great angles. While he may not be the fastest player on the field, his angle of pursuit is unbelievable. So he's always around the ball. And I just think he is he's a Brian Urlacher is what he is. He's all over the field. And you know, when you watch him in the film we've watched of him over the last 2 days, and you love guys like that. I mean, that guy's passionate. You know, I can only imagine what he's like in the locker room as a leader on that defensive side of the ball, because he's just so passionate about the game. But he is a football player. We're going to have to know where he is at all times.
What have you seen help Dwayne Allen emerge this year? I think he has 4 touchdowns in 5 games and had 1 all last year.
Well, I think, you know, I go back and I just did an interview on the radio with someone and they asked me something similar to that. And I think you go back to when I first got hired in January, 2 days into it or a day into it, when they introduced me to the team, whatever day it was. One of the questions that was asked by Dwayne was, do I use a tight end in our offense? And you know, at the time they thought, you know, it was 5 wide the whole bit, we'll throw it every play. And my response back to Dwayne is that, you know, if you'll trust me, you'll believe in me, this offense will make you one of the most versatile players in the country. And I think you're seeing that in Dwayne. Not only are you seeing him as a true on-the-line tight end, but you're seeing him in and out of structure as far as motion in and out of formations and be able to run different routes that maybe he hasn't had to run in the past. very versatile. And, I refer to Charles Clay that I had at Tulsa, which is now starting for the Miami Dolphins. And so he's along that type of ball player because he's not just a tight end. How are you going to, are you going to treat him as just a receiver? Are you going to treat him just as a tight end? He creates mismatch problems, and that's what we try to do with him as well.
Do you ask him to cut down on his hurdling skills?
I didn't realize he was a hurdler. That's what I told him. I didn't realize you were a hurdler. And but he was more proud about that hurdle than he was any catch he's ever made. he thought he had some really good ups on his vertical, and I said, no, I think the guy was just rolling around. He might have been up. But no, what a great play, what a great athletic play. But the thing that brings you back to Dwayne more than anything, yes, he's a great football player, but his leadership in that locker room, both offensively and defensively, that guy is a leader.
He gets their attention.
He talks, people listen. Even me.
The weather play any decision making in your head about the plays to call?
No, not really. I mean, you try to go in with your game plan, and you try to stick with your game plan. And obviously, there's times you have to try to adjust some things for what they're doing. But no, not really. You try to be prepared for that.
Chad, how many times in the last couple of days or last week or so have you heard that Clemson is this year's Auburn from last year?
I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I can only imagine what's being said out there, but I don't. When you look at that and you start talking about that, and again, I hope we are this year's Auburn in January. But right now, I don't know how many teams are 5-0, but there's quite a few. So, that's all we are right now is 5-0 and getting ready to go. Getting ready for to try to win your third ACC game.
And none of it right now, gets to you. I mean, a couple of years ago, you were probably scheming for a high school game or something at this time. And, Tulsa, yes, you had improvement, but it wasn't, it didn't get you in the top 10 nationally. None of this is kind of like, wow, this is amazing.
Well, yeah, I don't have time for that, number one.
Yeah.
One of these days I'm going to be able to sit on the beach and look at it and go, yeah, it was pretty cool right there. And it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it is. It's remarkable. But again, that's why I'm here. I mean, we're here to win, and that's why I've got to go do a job. And so we'll worry about all that stuff later, and we can watch a highlight film at the end of the year and sit around and eat cookies and milk together, and wow, it's a good year, But right now, we got to worry about winning games, and Boston College is going to give us a big opponent right now. So.
You were talking about that sense that players think they've arrived. I wasn't sure if you had heard that from them, or you just wanted to stop that before it started.
No, Bart. We haven't heard that from them. Absolutely not. They haven't given us any indication, and we're not going to let them give us any indication. So, no, we're they know what our approach is. They know what my personality is. But we'll ground them. They'll be grounded.
Because there's this, you hear a lot of talk about fans, about teams making statements and stuff. It's a statement game, for instance. Well, if you lose to Boston College, that's a pretty big statement, too. You think they're aware of that?
I think if you lose any game, it's a statement. I mean, regardless who it is. Do I think they're aware of it? I think, we talk to them all the time about just win today. So when we see them this afternoon, we just want to win today. We'll worry about tomorrow, but today is a day we can only control, and we got to win today. And when tomorrow gets here, then we need to worry about winning tomorrow and having a great practice and getting ready to go. But, there's great teams find ways to win. We've got a big opponent this week, Boston College. I promise you, our guys, they're going to be ready. Their guys are going to be ready. I'm going to be reminding these guys all week long about, you hadn't done anything. You hadn't scored an offensive touchdown, so none of you guys have seen the end zone in 2 years against these guys. So don't act like you've done something.
When you assess your inside run game, is there one factor that sticks out in where you think you need to improve, or is it the combination of the assignments, physicality, Ellington, and
Yeah, I think, again, you look at it and how you approach it each week. I think, I think you got to look at, it's a combination of a lot of things. You got to keep being more physical. We got to really pay attention to details and our technique and our steps with our offensive linemen. That's so much a part of it is just your fundamentals, stepping with the right foot, hand placements. Are we going to be able to line up and run the ball between the tackles every down and pick up 3 yards in a cloud of dust? It's not going to happen. It's not. But you got to be able to do some things to be able to take advantage of some of the areas. And so I do think that our run game is getting better. I think we went up against a very talented and very solid defense last week. We knew that this time last week when we talked, we all knew that. I knew it, you knew it, and it was just going to be it was going to be a battle of will. It was going to be a willpower, and it was going to be a heavydweight fight.
How are some of your other young receivers coming along? You haven't heard so much about Watkins, obviously, but it seems like maybe you could get the equivalent of some second half acquisitions with more from Brian or Pete or Craig or something.
Yeah, I think Sharon has obviously been hurt a little bit, but we're getting him back. Martavius played quite a bit the other night. So I think those guys are coming on. They're coming on at a pace that we want them to come on at. I mean, we all know what Sammy's capable of doing, and we got to do a good job of continue to manage him as well.
What's the nature of Pete's injury?
Oh, he's had 2 weeks ago had a little shoulder injury,
That's
but he's back.
How'd you like your welcome home?
That was neat. They again, it just shows you the passion. I mean, they're just so hungry for success around here. That's that's you got to love that. There's a lot of pressure but they want to win, and you want to be at a place that people expect to win. And we do our job. That's what I told our guys. All you're doing is doing your job. They want you to win. We want to win. Go do your job. But I appreciate the passion that's here. I think we got one of the best fan bases in the country, without a doubt, because they want to win. They're so hungry to win, and I can promise you, we got a lot of people that are flying their flags really proud right now, and they should be. But again, the approach that we're taking as a coaching staff is that we haven't done anything yet, and all that stuff we'll let our fans take care of all that. But right now we got to focus on the Tigers.
Anything else for Coach Morris?
Thanks, Chad.
Yes. Get that.